Hello to the two fans and welcome. This is Chicago Tech coming to you with a replay. This one sent in a while ago, so could be, I think it's still within the patch, but if it seems like some drafts coming out are a little bit different, well, you know the reason. So finally getting around to this one, just got internet back up where I'm at, so should expect to see a couple more videos from me, though I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. Anyway, a bit of a discount draft here as we're skipping ahead quite a bit just because it's not live. You don't need to go through the whole draft. You can kind of get the idea from the overview screen. So we'll go into the last picks here just so you guys can get a little bit of the pick ban hype going on. But bans, nothing too crazy, honestly. I don't think there's any real specific bans, just some target bans, some pub stompers. I mean, Omnionite, Silencer, Axe, tends to be like kind of a Slark ban, but I can see where they're coming from with picking out the Axe for things like the Chen just to get this push going, get this aggressive team going. And I mean, Chen, Leshrac, they've got lots of tower push and can go high ground fairly early. The one thing that they're lacking right now is that kind of man up hero. And I kind of think that the Luna ban might have been better set for a pick, just so they have someone that they can put forward and start actually hitting the towers, while the Leshrac and the Chen kind of support in that regard. But they are going to be going up against a Sven and a Vengeful Spirit, which means a lot of damage coming out at early points in the game with the Bloodseeker as well, and Centaur just tanking through everything. This push is going to be stunted pretty hard, so they're going to need some way to isolate and pick off very, very well. And I think almost like a Pudge would be good here. I mean, it's not a great push, but it is early game and it is aggression. So getting something like that to grab the Sven out, take him out of the fight early. I mean, you have to deal with something like a Venge swap, but it's almost guaranteed if the Venge swaps someone back, then the Venge herself is going to go down. So it's almost like you really need to find some way to knock some guy off early. And Ember Spirit, if you do target him, you better have some way to silence him. I mean, Night Stalker is very good in that regard, but they're going to be going for a mid to go up against it. And Invoker's not banned, so potentially they go for that. Now, that is to say the Leshrac or the Necrophos isn't mid, or even the Night Stalker. I wonder exactly kind of what they're going for. Have they paused? Huh. Maybe they have. I know. Don't look at the bottom, guys. There we go. Yeah, spoiler alert. So ignore that. Anyway, going to the last pick, we'll see what they go for. I mean, again, I'd kind of like something for pick off, but I'm trying to decide exactly what I would like. Because although I do still like the Pudge, I'm not entirely sure I like how weak he can become if he doesn't get the early game. And right now, there really isn't anyone he can gank safely. The Venge Sven lane is terribly tough to deal with. The Centaur is awful to go out alone. And I mean, an Ember Spirit ganking mid, not a terrible idea, but the one issue you face with that is Ember is really good at not letting himself get out of position. Now, level 6, of course, it's emphasized, but even early game, he's got the magic absorb from the shield. He typically can right click and back off. He's a very quick hero, and that magic damage or that magic absorb makes him pretty tanky in the early game because not a lot of damage is coming out from physical. So again, I think I'd like to see something like an Invoker too, just because how well it deals with the Ember in the lane. But Invoker has his own problems versus things like a Bloodseeker. So it's a tough call, I think, for the Radiant. See exactly how they want to deal with this. What other heroes do I think? You'd think as a caster by now, I'd have figured out that having like an entire hero list to my side is the best thing you can do, because it is. If quick tip for anyone learning to cast or wanting to, have a good hero list because it is so good to just reference and be like, oh yeah, that hero exists in this game. So anyway, we're coming into this game. We've got all of that out of the way, so let's go ahead and drop out to the free camera, not the directed. Throw that away, give ourselves the last hits, and start this one. So for the Dire team, it is going to be Niederrad playing the Ember Spirit with YBRD on the Sven. Raintime playing the Vengeful Spirit with Bollock Chops on the old Bloodseeker himself, and Peach Monger playing the Centaur War Runner. And you might recognize some of these games if you've watched replays before because I think these guys sent one in a very long time ago. I mean, back with the golden Aegis casts, which, I mean, if any of you watching that remember that, then I applaud you because you've been with me for a long time. Anyway, for the Radiant team, some of these I'm not even going to try to pronounce. So we've got a Chen. I mean, I can assume what the English pronunciation would be if those characters were English, but it's like Nahaxen. If that was an N, that was an H, but if they're not, it's Krillic, and I'm not totally sure. Anyway, Sherlock's gonna be on the Shrek with, oh my life, Tchenetsmaka, Tchenets, whatever. I'm gonna call him Tech on the Wraith King. We've got Kotick playing the Necrophos, and finally Dendi, not Dendi, but Dendi on the Night Stalker. Actually, I remember when Dendi used to play the Night Stalker. And this is back like Navi versus Alliance days. That takes me back. Watching AEC cast Navi games, man, that is what inspired me to play this game and to be a broadcaster. Now, of course, that inspiration's kind of fallen off because, well, there are so many people doing it, so little time. Anyway, so taking a look at some of these matchups now, we've got an Ember Spirit versus a Necrophos, and I mean, again, I talked about, potential lane counters and the gimp of a draft that we went through, but as far as heroes to go up against the Ember goes, I think the Necrophos actually is going to have a very tough time. Now, if Nidoran starts to prioritize a Flame Shield, he's going to be in a decent point, but for now, Kotick is going to be able to get a lot of harass off. Actually, Nidoran getting very low, going for the Searing Chains, but they're not that great at level 1. They have a very low stun time, or root time, I guess, is not. He's going to die, isn't he? Wow, okay, that's kind of one of those things where you don't quite respect the hero's weaknesses, I think, because again, I mentioned Ember can probably win this lane, but it comes off the back of a level 3. You've got to have 2 points in Flame Guard. In fact, I'd almost imagine getting it first would be great, as Peachmonger does go down to this dual lane of Sherlock and Tech, and it's not surprising that he dies. In fact, I'd be very surprised if an offlaner did not die here, and he's going to have to think about exactly what he does from this point forward, because coming close to the lane is almost suicide with the crit and the stun from Tech. He's going for a stun of his own, but they've got so much setup, follow up with a Split Earth, and the magic damage is real, as well as, just a raw physical from the Wraith King. Always kind of a scary hero to deal with, and you can't exactly go to the jungle. I mean, Nidoran doesn't stack anymore. 2 minutes. It's a good attempt, but unfortunately he takes a whole lot of damage for nothing. I think they just Shrine at this point. Like, Peachmonger could use a little bit of extra HP. Looks like they're gonna go for the other one, actually. Bollock Chops shrining himself up. He has actually been jungling. Haven't really paid too much attention to that, but Bloodseekers can get a lot of value out of this jungle. The one issue in this game that I see, though, because we haven't really looked at the top lane, so I'll talk about that in a minute, but this mid is going very poorly for Nidoran. He actually goes for a point and Sleight of Fist, and I strongly disagree with this decision. Although, yes, it is a fantastic spell to have, just because you can Slight Chains and start off your initiation. Wow, that was redundant. The one issue here is that Flame Guard does not last. I mean, it only does 50 magic absorb in the early game. That's basically a spell, less than... And Kotick will get rid of that immediately. It's not even worth having, not even worth casting, and I think he gets... This is a really lucky break for him right here. Getting that regeneration rune and then following up with... Not a bottle. Oh, that's actually not that lucky of a break. Anyway, getting that regen rune is super useful. As bottom lane, they're going to follow up with a Split Earth. Tech, he doesn't have a Red Fire Blast for a bit. He doesn't have the mana for it. Peachmonger did end up popping out a Salve, though, and it looks like it gets canceled almost immediately. He's trapped in without a TP, without any real movement speed, going through the creep waves, but the Thunderstrike comes through, and Lightning Storm would be the name of the spell, rather. And that's another kill for this bottom lane, and again, I'm not surprised that he's dying here. There's really not much else he can do to recover from a matchup like this. I mean, Centaur, he's so strong in many scenarios, but magic damage is not one of them. He can absorb physical like you could not believe, but when the enemy's got a natural crit with lots of base damage. And we're talking about 70 damage on a level 4 Wraith King. That's not obscene by any means, but it's powerful. I mean, he can burn through this HP pool of Peachmonger without having to worry too much about taking any return. And the armor that the Centaur has, I mean, it's 5 armor. It's pretty respectable. We're looking at, what, 25, 23% physical resistance. So about a quarter of that 70 is going away. But that gets almost negated by the fact that he's got a natural crit. So, and with all the stun time that they have, it's really tough. So Centaur, he's got to start thinking about how he's going to catch up potentially in the jungle, which is very possible for him as Kodik is level 6. This is a very good level 6 compared to the 4 of the Ember Spirit. Nidorat actually, I imagine he would realize that this is going on as top lane. We've got a lot of stun coming out, but Rain Time might be the first one to fall. Yep, Dundee is in deep, though. Looks like the tower is going to start burning him away. YBRD is going to chase down and get the last swipe. Actually, Sherlock might also be dead as there is a Storm Hammer. Throws it out, gets them down to 1 right click away, and then finishes the job. So they dive into for that kill as, okay, well, I wish I was there to see it because I was starting to talk about how I thought it would go down, and I'm pretty sure it went down how I thought it would. But, yeah, 2 dive on the top lane for the support. They only get the support, and the carry follows up with both kills. Not worth it at all. I mean, you talk about a balance of power in lanes like this. If you dive, you better be going for that core kill. Because a support, he can just shrug it off. They're used to having no gold. They can go in, they can sap a little bit of experience, maybe take a right click, or take a last hit from here and there, and they'll be able to buy a ward, and they're good. They've done their contribution. They still have the same spells. They still have the same impact. They just have less gold. So it's not any trouble that they go down. And the amount of gold you get from them, sure, it's about the same as the gold you'd get from a core, but it doesn't set the enemy team back anymore. Meanwhile, if you get the carry, it sets the carry back quite a bit, and that's his next item being delayed by... it can go up to 3 or 4 minutes, depending on when you take him down, so... But that's if you get the kill and get away. If you get the kill on the support and then lose 2, even getting the core kill is almost not worth it. So YBRD should be going down very soon. They scout him out with Sherlock, but it looks like the Chen a little bit late to respond. Couldn't get his Centaur in position. Now they've got Dendi driving in through the tower, it seems, but this is all under pretty decent, not vision, but they've got a good idea this is going on, the Dire that is, and they'll hold back. They actually are going to TP in. Ember Spirit, Nidorat is looking for a little bit of a return here. He wants to get some foothold back in this game. Now, his bane would be if the Necrophos rotates to the top lane. But it looks like Kodik has gone down to the bottom, now TPing to the top in full vision. They've also got this high ground ward, so the Dire knows exactly what's going on. Diabolic Chops, they could potentially fight here if the Bloodseeker wants to. YBRD is going to start this one out, though. They've got plenty of slow. They've got the silence. Sherlock's actually going to move in, but no one's going to cast a spell yet. Dendi, he could roll in if he wants. They could find the Iterat. He does have a remnant, but his silence would be everything. They don't have silence. Oh, God, no crippling fear. It's nighttime, right? And I would go for a 2-1-2 build. Honestly, if you're ever against a hero like an Ember Spirit. I know people would probably yell at me, they'd flame me, they'd call me shit for recommending something like that. But in the nighttime, that's a 5-second silence. With a 10%, or with a 50% chance to miss. I mean, it's not like the miss chance makes any difference anymore, but there's going to be a chains. It gets lucky and catches Dendi despite all their neutrals close by. They're actually going to go in with the Reaper Scythe, get the kill. Stormhammer connects on 3 in the middle of a Blood Right. But that is not enough damage to give them what they need to start fighting. I mean, Kodik, he's regened all the way through it because of that kill, and now we'll continue driving into this one. Rain Time is on the run. They've got Dendi chasing. There is also a hand of Pestilence. I don't know anyway. Rain Time going to go in. The Stormhammer connects a 2 again. YBRD gets the kill. They've got the Hand of God, but it's not going to be able to save Kodik's life here. A Centaur Stomp from the Centaur himself will go in. He'll die because of it. Puts himself with a double edge very low. YBRD moving in with Rain Time, though. They're going to get the kill on Dendi off the back of the magic missile. No one's got enough mana to continue chasing this Chen, though. They can go for some right clicks, but that's about it. And it looks like they actually steal the Centaur. So, wait, who converted it? Oh, that's a Helm of the Dominator for YBRD. Okay. Interesting fight. Think definitely worth it for the Dire here. I mean, YBRD is 3-0-2, so things are looking all right. Sherlock, not too healthy, but 2 kills, 3 assists, and a support is okay. Dendy's going to move in now, gets the Void. YBRD slow. Again, no silence just yet, but YBRD, he's going to try to run away from this one. Where's his Centaur? Oh. He will survive here. They've got the Stampede, but that Centaur definitely could have helped out if he was able to get a stun off. Anyway, doesn't matter. Balachop's still farming up through the jungle. He's got his level 6, so he could try to find a kill very soon. Going for the Yasha, it seems. So the extra movement speed on the Bloodseeker is kind of his mode of impact in this game. He wants to be the quick race car that goes in, dives behind enemy lines, and just is an absolute nuisance. And absorbing spells would probably be the greatest impact you could possibly make in a game like this. You want to be able to eat things like the Reaper's Scythe, like the Split Earth, the Wraith Fire Blast, just so that your Sven can go and do Sven things and your Ember can go and do Ember things. Speaking of people doing their thing, Venge is going to go in underneath the nose of the Chen. And Raintime's just going to steal the bounty. Actually walks up the high ground and runs into Kotick. But Kotick does not react at all. He's like, there's a Venge there. Maybe she's dropping a ward, maybe not. What am I? So Peachmonger hanging in. Going pretty much toe-to-toe with the Centaur as Kotick is very... this is not good for Balachop's. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's dead here. There's going to be a stomp, but the Reaper's Scythe go down. Reaper, actually, Peachmonger going for the double edge and not going to survive because of it. Nidoran getting slammed. Tech, he's coming away with 2 kills for what was probably, and forgive me if you're on either of these teams and you feel like I'm flaming you. I'm not. I'm just saying that was very uncoordinated. Everything just did not work. They go in for the tankiest hero of the bunch, the guy with a reincarnate at the ready. I don't know if they actually knew that the Necro was there. They had to have been taking the tick damage, right? He's got Heartstopper. Anyway, Peachmonger, they are going to go ahead and get the first kill on the Wraith King. He's underneath the tier 1 tower, so maybe they get a second. They get Kotick first, though. But Tech, he's going in. He's bringing down Rain Time. Not even caring, but he is caught underneath the tower, taking full tower damage. So he does die here. And 250 gold to each person in that fight. That's actually really good. Balak, Peach, and Rain all getting $250,000. That's not that bad, considering, you know, they just got 3 wiped for that bottom team fight 30 seconds prior, so. Anyway, I think I was talking just briefly about not knowing that the Necro was there, even though Heartstopper Aura should have been connecting. They should have known that he was close by. It seemed like not a lot of attention was paid. They wanted that Wraith King kill. They tunnel visioned it, and they paid the price, so. Peachmonger's going to walk right into Dendy. They've got the silence, but the Split Earth off the mark, so he's going to go in for that TP. Not even going to care, as we do have a God Strength going in for... I don't think it was a stack. No, it looks like just two corpses on the ground. So God Strength for just a single Ancient Camp. Not terrible, not ideal, but it'll get him some gold. He's going in for that Echo Saber and a BKB and a Blink all queued up. So he is getting pretty greedy here. I think just the Blink right now. I almost would skip the full Echo Saber just for the ability to go in and blink in and start the fights. What other initiation do you have? Because the Centaur is not getting a Blink anytime soon. You could Venge swap into an initiation, but I don't think they want to give up their Venge just yet. The damage amp is too strong to just throw away like that. I don't think Yeah, because the negative amp on the Radiant isn't as potent. They've still got a lot of reliance on magic damage right now. Meanwhile, there are plenty of heroes like Bollock Chops and YBRD are both super reliant on the physical, really reliant on the plus damage from the Venge Ore, and that's 28% bonus damage. I mean, you don't scoff at that. We're looking at, like, see this number right here? See this green number? That's huge. 170 damage at 14 minutes. Like, look at this tower. It does not survive very long. And so, Kotic's actually going to move in, but the Blood Right's down. They're going to Storm Hammer him under it. They blow him up. He is not surviving through this. And now the Magic Missile comes out. They clean up Dendi. And that is 2 down and a tier 2. They also got the tier 1. Let's take a look at this recap. 1,000 gold going their way. And I don't think that counts the first tower they got. So we're talking 1,500 or so damage, or gold, their way, minus 300 for the enemy. Take a quick look at the graphs here. Let's go into net worth just so you can emphasize. The 2 swords guys are pretty neck and neck, but this will be the story you want to see. The Dire, we're at a little bit of a disadvantage, but look at this kind of immediate tank. This was this last engagement. You can see actually the 3 kills down here and the tower. Or the 2 kills in the tower. So, yeah, they got 1 tower. They lost a tower. So that might have offset a little bit of it. But this is a huge dip. And it's not really one that you expect from an early game fight like that. I mean, typically swings in the... Oh, Bollock Chops maybe looking for something, but the Ghost Shroud... Actually, that Rupture is really throwing Kotic for a loop here. He wanted to chase down with Tech, but he would have killed himself if he had, so... Anyway, swings like that just, they don't normally happen in the early game, but then again, getting 2 towers and not getting punished at all for it also doesn't happen much in the early game. So the Radiant are going to try to leverage their tower pushing with the Leshrac, and they're going to go in for this tier 1 top, and they're going to grab it. So Leshrac has cleaned up 2 towers in the span of the last couple minutes. As we saw, he did, okay, Preachmonger getting caught in by a TP from Kotic. Gotta love the tree TPs, you know, given the vision block, so you can go in without being too obvious. And so that's a free kill for Kotic and a lot of extra gold. He's actually going to go in for the Ag Scepter. Now, they changed what this did recently, so I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to check out the description when it comes in. All I know is it doesn't do that whole prevents buyback thing. I'm pretty sure. I think it just reduces the cooldown by a large margin. So, Rain Time. Got the Medallion of Courage, so I imagine a Roshan should be coming out very soon. In fact, oh, we got a Wraith King. Catches her out. Kotic, does he have the Reaper Scythe again? We've got the... Oh, he tries! But he doesn't have it, so... Stampede, very well placed, and that should have been a kill. I'm very surprised Rain Time gets away from that, but this is Medallion. I mean, plenty of armor that he gets. He's almost sitting at, 18 with the tower helping him out, but it's a lot of armor. That negates, what are we talking about, like 60%? Okay, 52. Well, I'm off by a little bit each time. I'll get it eventually, you know. Machine learning, except, you know, with not a machine. Still, though, the Medallion is such an incredible item. I don't know why more people just don't buy it. It's... When I was maining roaming support, because I got tired of playing carry for a patch, it was like the patch that carry was impossible to play. And then, I don't remember what exactly they did, but they made it a little bit easier. But while that patch was going on, I played almost exclusively offlane and roaming support, because you just completely annihilated every lane. It was glorious. Anyway, my favorite item was Solar Crest. And don't get me wrong, that item has not become any less powerful. I think it's seen a couple of buffs, maybe a couple of nerfs, but the item is quite possibly the greatest value item in the game. You talk about the armor that either you or a teammate gets, or it makes ganks happen very quickly, especially if you're going against a high HP target. You pop it on them, the minus armor is more than a freaking Desolator. I mean, it's incredible. Such a low cooldown, you can keep it up pretty much 100% uptime, and you can Roche with it. And I'd like to put plenty of asterisks, exclamation points. If you're taking notes, underline that a couple of times. Roche with it. Anyway, Rain Time's dead. What? Wait. What? Ah, Caster's Curse? Seriously? They just ignored him. They're like, eh, it's Avenge. Why even bother? Wow, okay. Anyway, now there is going to be the Rupture onto Sherlock. They turn around, they bring him down. Reaper's Scythe does finally bring down Rain Time, but the Bloodright is silencing Kotick for now. Peachmonger looking to chase, but still no Blink Dagger anywhere in the future, as Nidoran has gone in for the Veil of Discord. So this is nice though. I mean, we saw he did have a stack that he was taking not too long ago. What creep has he dominated? He has not dominated a single creep yet. We need to see the Alpha Wolf pretty soon. Do they have a Vlad's? We need to see an Alpha Wolf and a Vlad's on this team. Why? I'll tell you why. 36% bonus damage. Okay? Plus the potential 6 and 7 armor reduction. So minus 13 armor on any specific target. If that doesn't make you salivate just a little bit, then we add a 15% bonus damage for the Vlads. And it's something like a, what, 20 to 25% bonus damage for the Alpha Wolf? So, okay, well, that's Nidoran going down. But you consider right now, Sven has 139 base damage. Now tag onto that, over 60% of that being added in. So out of nowhere, he's getting 70 to 80 damage. What else in the game gives 70 to 80 damage? Boom. For a split cost, right? Helm of the Dominator is what, like 1800 or so? 1900, all right? For 1900 for a Helm of the Dominator, someone else buying a Vlad's. I mean, this isn't on one person, all right? This is split out, split up. And of course, Rain Time is free. Plus, I mean, you can include Medallion of Courage or not, but if we include the minus armor here, we're talking, I want to say like a 10% extra damage or so. Anyway, the point being, you get pretty much for free what you'd have to get from over 5,000 to 6,000 gold worth of items. That's insane. And later in the game, it just gets more. Like, you could easily get Rapier's worth of damage from that. Anyway, swap back. They've got Dendi, but they aren't able to do too much with him. Rain Time's going to eat a Reaper's Sight. That's not going to matter. And then the God Strength! Turning it around, but no one's going to die just yet because the Hand of God, kind of ironic in a way. But all that aside, Rain Time's going to avoid the Centaur Clap or the Hellbear Clap, but ends up going down in the meantime. There is going to be a stomp on the back lines, but Wraithfire Blast is going to stop any more damage, so the double edge isn't coming through. Bloodright's out, though, so it's looking like the Wraith King isn't able to do too much. There is going to be now the Stormhammer, but nothing from YBRD can go in and continue this fight. He's going to get locked in, and they bring down both him and Peachmonger. Bollock Chops with the Bloodright, though. They're looking for more. At least he's looking for more. He's almost alone right now, as his Ember Spirit is pushing out a different lane. So a bit of a 4v5 going on. They'll go 2 for 3. Not too shabby considering. Now it doesn't look like Radiant can push any further. They've got a top lane pushing in, but losing their Sven like that is definitely not an outcome that they want to get. So they'll get the tier 2. They'll walk away with a little bit of extra. Their Wraith King is now leading out the Sven in the net worth. So by and large, okay, it's a little worth it, but not by much. Still, though, you know, if they had that Vlad, you know, maybe. So if you watch my recordings often, you will know that I think I talk about this nearly every game that I record. And some of you probably are tired of it, but I can't stress it enough. Every game, you need a Vlad's, you need a Dominator, you need a Medallion of Courage. Every game. I am also a very strong believer of drums, but that's not quite as necessary as other items. You get those 3 items, and I don't see how you can lose. I mean, we're talking about the sheer advantage you get from that. It scales. It's a scaling advantage. Like, it's not like it's good in the early game and then it falls off and is shit in the late game. Lifesteal and percentage-based damage increases scale. So they're good in the early game, they're good in the mid game, they're good in the late game, they're good in the ultra late game. Hell, if the game goes 5 hours, it's still more worth it than buying an extra rapier. Like, maybe it isn't. Maybe ultra late you want to start buying rapiers, but my point is it's nearly always good. Oh, okay, come on. What's going on here? There we go. I found my place. Anyway, Reaper's Sight, they bring down YBRD. He didn't have a chance. That's what's happening. I upped the sensitivity on my mouse. Went to 4K or 7K DPI. Oh. Yes, that's 7,000. Oh boy, that's something. Anyway. That's a big kill on this Fen. I mean, he is 1,000 gold from the BKB. He really needs the magic immunity this game. And having a 10-second BKB at this point would not win them the game. I think there are still plenty of intricacies that could win or lose, but it could certainly put them in a really good spot as Dendi is going to make use of what the hero does and bring down the Ember Spirit. Again, such a great hero for the Ember. And it kind of forces Ember to go in for something like a Manta or a Lincoln Sphere. And he's got to do it fast, because if he doesn't, he dies at the start of every fight, just like that. So the Radiant have taken control of the Dire's jungle. Actually, they're going to catch out one more Bollock Chops. You'd think you're safe under the tier 2, but yeah, buddy, you're nowhere close to safe. So 25 minutes into this game, right? Let's take a look at what each team has. Radiant just cleaned up Dire's jungle. They brought down the final tier 2 to protect said jungle. The Roshan is wide open for them. In fact, they ping it, they want it. This was a huge kind of advantage throw, I think, from the Dire, because we mentioned they had just taken this tier 2 top. They could have probably easily just transitioned to a Roshan while there were 2 people down. They had the Medallion of Courage. They could have, they didn't have a Vlad's, but they don't really need it. They could have done it, but they didn't. And so now they're going to lose the Rosh 5-10 minutes later, lose a whole bunch of advantage, and they're now staring down the barrel of a team that can clean up their racks very quickly if they aren't able to play their cards right. But they come in very strong into this fight. They've got an Ember Spirit who's diving in deep. He's going to get a deny off on one of their creeps here. That's interesting, but the Shrine is now down, so Nidoran, he's done everything he needs to do. YBRD, he's looking down. He catches them all in a straight line and cleans up with the cleave. Now, YBRD only getting Sherlock for now, but they're looking for Tech. They're going to be able to bring him down in a couple of hits, but no, YBRD, they turn. And the massive physical damage from Tech, while he's only sitting at about 10% HP, is able to clean up shop. And now Rain Time going down. Blood right there, but only one dead. Tech. Bollock Chops, he needs to do something here. One swipe gets him, but remember, he had both Reincarnate and Aegis Mortality, so while I don't think Bollock Chops dies here, he needs to go for this Shrine. Yeah, he will. Alright, so I don't think he dies here, but he gets very close. Okay, maybe he does die. If the Shrek was here, they win the game. In fact, I almost feel like he should have just YOLO'd out and gone for like a Boots of Travel there. But if he was in this push, they would have just straight up won, because you can grab 2 sets of racks with his edict. But they will have to wait a bit of time. Now Peachmonger's going to go down. Where's our Leshrac? They win if he's in this. Well, they'll still clean up the racks. That's the most they're going to get. They just have to get out clean, and they still are looking very good. YBRD with the God Strength is looking for more. They're going to turn for the Red Fire Blast. Maybe they do this? Yeah, they do. They're able to get the Penitents out, and they clean up YBRD. He's down for another 90 seconds. Meanwhile, the Chen, he's going to go down here, but Bollock Chops is now silenced, so... And we're still missing the Leshrac. Okay, so they're going to get a tier 2. They could have gotten 2 sets of racks there. They most certainly could have, and that would have ended the game for them. But they settled for the tier 2, which still is very good. But consider exactly where they stand. I mean, they're winning the game, but their push is over. So this gives one more team fight that they have to for sure win. Meanwhile, Nidoran actually could clean up a tier 3. If he gets this tier 3, this is looking very good. No, he's... Oh, man. Okay, so he doesn't get the tier 3. He's very close to. So... But again, consider where the rating stands. They're in a very good position, but they took a huge risk going for that tier 2 and split pushing with their Leshrac. Because if they had gone in with Leshrac, if he had just barreled down mid lane, they had done more of the fight and they had cleaned up the top racks, I think, again, they'd 100% win this game. Because now they're only up a mid racks. Now, the hierarchy of racks that you want to bring down in a game is top lane, bottom lane, and then you want to get the mid. Because what the top lane does is it pretty much secures the fact that the enemy team, or the team that's missing that Rax, has no presence in their jungle. If it's the raiding, the bottom lane is the one you want to get first. But that zero presence in their jungle opens up not only so much more farm for you, but it cripples them. They can't do anything because they've got to push out this hard wave first to get in that jungle, and that opens up just a lot more power for your team. It's kind of like the next best thing to bringing down both tier 2 towers. Now, if you bring down the bottom racks, it's the same thing, except their hard lane is a little bit easier to defend. It's a little bit easier to push into. You can't push it out as far, but I think controlling the map is the number one priority. So while the bottom lane is a great lane of racks to get, it's still the priority is the top. So the fact that they went for the mid first, that doesn't give them anything. It gives them, it's the easiest lane to push back. It's the easiest lane to counter racks. If you win a fight, you push it very quickly, you get the racks, you get out. It's a very snap thing. It can happen for, especially this team. They've got immense tower push just because of all the percentage damage amp they have. As there is, oh man, Dendy's been caught out alone, but they'll swap him out of the blood right. Doesn't matter, he's still dead. 530 gold. This is called getting cocky. At this point in the game, you don't want to be alone, especially in the enemy jungle. Like, I know you've got control there, but you need to be there with your team. Speaking of alone, YBRD, he also can't be alone, but it's a little more understandable for the losing team just because they need to take risks like that. Now, he'll pop the BKB, which means he gets away alive, puts BKB on cooldown, and takes away that fresh 10 seconds, but it's, if you live, it's worth it. So he probably could have gotten away without it, but better safe than sorry. Either way, never get caught out alone if you're the winning team, because 530 gold may not seem like a lot, but it can be the difference between the next item for the enemy. Anyway, yeah, I just talked about how the mid-rax is not the best one you want to get. Anyway, Bollock Chop, so close. Tech is going in deep for this, but he won't be able to get any kills. That could have been disastrous. Losing someone like that, like that's just blink of the eye. It's over. So Ember just doing Ember things. No silences to stop him. It was a Night Stalker all the way back, being forced to defend, which means isolation. Sherlock also getting brought down alone. This is pretty huge for the Dire, and probably one of the biggest crumbles I think I've seen from a Radiant team, or from a winning team in a very long time. In fact, if you ever throw a game, right, and you're like, how did we throw this game? Watch something like this. This is a very, because they haven't thrown yet. They can still win. They can win very easily. So I don't want to make it seem like they've lost this game by giving up 2 pickoffs. But if you ever wonder how you go from winning a game super hard to losing, there are 2 big reasons, and one of them is very, very apparent in this game. Getting picked off alone and missing your power curve. And usually they kind of coincide, because getting picked off alone can end up boosting the enemy's power curve, and then you miss, the window becomes a lot smaller. But this is actually probably what could very well happen in this game if they don't group up and they don't end this now. I mean, they could smoke up, right? Go S5, roll into the enemy jungle, pick off a Sven who is alone right now, farming very greedily, which is exactly what he has to do. They've got plenty of wards, but if they smoke up and kill him now, this game's over. Because they push in the top lane as 5, they clean up the top racks. Hell, they may be even able to just end the game off the back of a good team fight. But they need their Wraith King. So I almost guarantee that they get this kill if they don't F it up. He's going to pop a BKB. Okay, well, there's the F up. So how do you get a kill like that? You may be wondering. Well, you lead off with the Reaper Scythe. You may not get the kill from the Reaper Scythe, but it means he cannot BKB. It gives you plenty of time to get all of your burst damage spells off. And hell, you probably would still kill him. I mean, it's nearly a given. Even if he does get his BKB off and he survives through the Reaper Scythe, you've got damage to follow up. They pop a Stampede, but it doesn't last forever. They pop the BKB, it doesn't last forever. You just chase him down, you get the kill. Night Stalker is very fast. They've got plenty of ways to do it. Hell, does net go through? Yeah, net pierces magic immunity. So they just net him twice. But they need to lead off with either a net or a Reaper Scythe. They would have gotten that kill. Well, actually net first, because the Reaper Scythe means he can't blink away. Or Reaper Scythe first, because it means he can't blink away. Anyway, Blood Ray onto Kodak. They've also got the Rupture. They're going to go in deep for this as Tech. He's also getting a pick off in the bottom lane. He's not here. YBRD's just going to turn and bring down 2. Oh boy, this is a disaster for the Radiant team. They'll lose all 4. What was Tech thinking? Oh, man. So 4 dead in the top lane. I should have clicked on the team fight recap because that would have probably just solidified any point that I had. It's not like it's the worst thing in the world. The Radiant still have a 10,000 advantage. But that's down about half from where it was. Tech's not going to get this kill. In fact, he is not doing anything. Doesn't have a basher. He's got no way to control. Just straight up raw damage, which they can deal with. They have the Solar Crest. They have the Veil of the Cloak. So, the Glimmer Cape. Bleh. When you've got a hero that has as much net worth on your team as the Wraith King does for the Radiant, you can't push without him. So Radiant, they're kind of missing their power curve now, but they still have what it takes. From here on out, what they need to do is they need to get some sort of control for Tech. I think he needs to go for the Abyssal Blade. Like, the MKB is great for getting hits off, but they need the Abyssal. They need some way for him to be able to man-fight this Sven reliably. Because, well, there's already a Basher on the enemy team, and Sven doesn't typically go for Basher, but he's now got the Satanic coming out. So we talk about the sheer amount of damage. It's 50 damage, but it's 25 strength, which means it's another 50 damage for his God strength. Actually, it's 200%, right? So YBRD, they're going to get the Reaper Scythe off. They lead with it, but Chen didn't have the nets anymore. He didn't have the trolls, so he couldn't lock him in with the net. And with Glimmer Cape off on rain time, he's just kind of walking away from this one, getting out alive. But this time, there's all 5 for the Radiant. Now, the classic mistake here would be to think that you're strong enough to just go high ground. They've got to not do that. Right now, they need to find some way to pick. And they don't have any hero that can negative position the Dire, like a Pudge with a hook. That's kind of like negative position anyway. They do have a dive in from the Wraith King. Doesn't have a BKB, but does have Aegis Immortality, so they're going to turn around and try to fight him. Reaper Scythe in the YBRD. It doesn't do nearly enough damage, but they are turning and fighting. So Tech, he's going to go for his first life. That is a reincarnate life. So now that he's back in, he's going for YBRD. He's rooted in, but he's still able to fight. Can't man fight, though. They've got plenty of stuns for him, so they'll clean up the second life rather quickly, and the rest of his team in the meantime goes down. So, life number 3. Well, that's it. That's the 5-man wipe. And that, my friends, is called the throw. The first bad fight was iffy. I mean, the throw started with the decision not to have the Lishrak go and help them get buildings. Because, again, that would have gotten them 2 racks easily. The second mistake was pushing his 4 into the high ground. But this This is the big kahuna right here. We're looking at a 5k gold swing. Just from one fight alone. But don't look at it just like 5k. I mean, look at it as the sheer amount of experience that they just got from that, and the fact that they may be able to counteract this. I think it's a little bit too early to try to fight, so maybe they force a couple buybacks and then back off. But getting a tier 3 tower right now would be so worth it, because that is so much extra gold you get from shrines and whatnot. He's actually got a god strength. His BKB is back up. No, they do this. They go for the racks here. They get the racks, they force the buyback, and now they run. This, even if they lose, like Bollock Chops here, it is so worth it. But they're not going to. They miss the Split Earth, the block on the Dendi. Okay, no, they still get out with the Void. They can probably Crippling Fear him so that he can't use any spells. And yeah, they get this kill. So at least they got that. I don't know if the Stampede was on cooldown. It probably should have been popped a lot sooner. Like, as soon as they got the racks and they started backing off, it should have been popped, but I don't know if it was on cooldown. I wasn't watching exactly, so... it's kind of one of those hindsight things. Like, I really should have noticed that they should have popped it there, but it's one of those things you just kind of take for granted. I thought that said that was Centaur. I was like, oh, that's a very thin Centaur. Anyway. We are going to go in. Seems a top lane push is going to be Radiant's next objective. Again, they are going to get this tower, and looks like they are going to try to counteract this. One dead. It's only Bollock Chops. This is not exactly the thing that they're looking for here, as a jump in the stop from Peachmonger. And then YBRD, they go in, they get the kill. The Chen's also dead. They don't even get the racks. They just get the tier 3. They're going to find Dendi. Looks like Kodak's the one that they're going to continue to go for, though. Stun will connect. Meanwhile... this is pretty huge. The fact that the Ember Spirit, who had been shut down so much, is able to man-fight the Night Stalker, gets the kill. This is unexpected. Nidoran he felt so weak just because of how the lane went for him. No fault of his own, but a lane that goes that poorly usually completely negates the hero solo kill potential throughout the game, but those past couple fights have given him plenty, and he is able to get this 1v1 kill. So, if that doesn't guarantee the turn of events, I don't know what does. Radiant or Dire will push into the bottom lane now. Remember, buybacks have been spent in the last one. 2 alive without buyback. They are going to go for this tier 3 tower, but it looks like Sven wants to clean up the ranged racks. You know, at an okay decision, as Nidoran does go down in the bottom lane, so they sack 1 kill. For the ranged racks. They back off. I think go for the shrines now. You have plenty of time for the Roshan, so they can't really get that. But 2 shrines is, what, 300 gold for everyone on the team? I say go for it. So we're going to be going in for the Moon Shard for YBRD. I disagree, I think. I think I'd more like him to go... do they have... yeah, I'd like him to go for an Assault Cuirass here. No, they have one. Okay, never mind. Forget that. Moon Shard, yes. Because the Moon Shard negates the disadvantage that you get from selling your treads for a different item. Which means he doesn't really lose all that much from getting rid of the treads. Because the movement speed's coming from the Boots of Travel now. And, I mean, what's 9 strength when compared to 25 strength? So it's not like he's losing a whole lot if he sells those treads. And what he can do is he can hold on to the Moon Shard until that next item comes out, which probably should be the Daedalus. I know some people really, really like the Bloodthorn on him, but when you consider the amount that you get of the Daedalus over the Bloodthorn, the crit damage is so much higher. And sure, you miss out on the silence, you miss out on the keyword attack speed, but the raw damage is what you need, because you're not looking for attack speed. You're looking for being able to clean up the entire enemy team in 2 hits. That's it. And those 2 hits might happen a little bit faster with Bloodthorn, but then it becomes 3 hits. And that's... being able to do it in 2 hits with a lower attack speed is much better than 3 hits with a higher attack speed. And even then, the difference is kind of negated by the fact that you still have the Moon Shard in your inventory, or you've still eaten the Moon Shard. And even if you didn't want to eat the Moon Shard, just keep the Moon Shard in the spot of the treads and get Daedalus instead of Echo Saber. But no, you want the Daedalus. You want the Echo Saber for the 2 immediate hits. That's right. That's why attack speed doesn't matter as much. Because you've got a freaking Echo Saber. Those 2 hits are instant. So, yeah. I say, sell the treads, buy the Moon Shard, hold on to the Moon Shard, and eat the Moon Shard for the Daedalus. That's exactly what I would build right now. He is going to go in for the double damage. There is no Roshan. But if they find anyone, he's dead. And it looks like, oh no, they find the one hero that the Radiant just couldn't afford to lose. That is one Reincarnate, but it doesn't matter as they've caught him. They've locked him in. His team's nowhere close. Swap back, and that is a dead Wraith King. 90 seconds, no buyback. I think that's it. That could very well be the game right there. They're going to move in and try to find Sherlock. They don't have Stampede anymore. They used it for unknown reasons when they had locked the Wraith King in place, but maybe a little bit of extra AoE damage if they all sat on top of him. That's a pretty healthy burst that you get from that based on the strength of Peachmonger, which isn't all that high right now. He's gone mostly armor, magic resist, so his strength is respectable, but not in any way obscene. Anyway, the tower will still kill itself on him as Dendy's going in, but they're missing their Wraith King. The double stun from the Stormhammer. They are able to bring down Dendy in almost no time at all. Same with Sherlock. Kotick surviving through it all just because of the Ghost Shroud, but I mean, at this point, they're most certainly losing their racks. This is a very strong Dire team. God Strength is down for YBRD, but it's not like it's making too big of an impact on his damage output. Rain Time, Reaper's Scythe. They had the cloak, the cape, Glimmer Cape. That's the word I'm looking for. They had the Glimmer Cape, didn't do a lot of damage. He still should go down. Dendy, maybe? Do they have detection? They don't. They'll TP away. Okay. 2 sets of racks gone. And the Dire are now cruising. They've got the counter racks in the mid lane. They've got the best lane of racks to get. And now it looks like they might get a pick off. I mean, Dendy, I don't think they knew he was alone. So maybe they're just scared to counter initiate on this one. Bollock looks like he's going to go down. A Thistle Blade. Didn't know he had that. That's kind of interesting. Great item, though. I think they really needed that item 20 minutes ago. Actually, what did Wraith King end up going for? He is going for that BKB. Very, very after the fact BKB. But, yeah, so one thing I think we're missing for Wraith King is the Basher. Could have meant a huge difference in this game. But, unfortunate. Anyway, they're going to find the nice Stalker. YBRD's getting caught in, kind of chain stunned down, but now he turns to fight. He's got the Satanic and just kind of ripping through. There is another Reincarnate for the Wraith King, but remember, he doesn't have a bash. He's got nothing. YBRD's going in. He's man fighting. He isn't able to sit through this one, so it looks like they will get both kills, but that's the Reincarnate down. And of course, the Sven does have a buyback. Meanwhile, in the top lane, do they have a glyph? No, they do not. So Chen has to TB back to this. This is unfortunate. He didn't have any creeps anyway, so it's not like they're missing a whole lot. Bloodseeker comes back into the fray, and it's now a 3v3 at the moment with now Sven buying back. And Wraith King almost guaranteed to die, I think, here. They got him with the Rupture. They get him with the stun. They turn to fight. Reincarnate's back up, so they're going to have to kill him again. But it's not like it makes a difference. They're going to stampede back. Bloodright's going to catch onto the Wraith King. He's silenced. He still doesn't have his BKB, so while he can man fight as best as he wants, with the Split Earth helping him out, YBRD pops the Satanic and gets plenty of HP back. Might be able to get a little bit more, but no. They still get Sherlock, and that's 2 down. Sherlock does have buyback, but not like it's going to do too much here, so he will pop it immediately. But they're missing Wraith King, and that is 90% of their fight. So while the Bloodseeker easily cleans up the top wave alone, not really much that Shen or Sherlock can do. So the Dire, they'll push through the bottom lane, create a scenario where the Radiant are spread too thin, Dendi's back, though, which means he can defend this lane alone. And, well, even though he's not alone, his team is close behind him. So while he can defend it alone, he is supported by his team. Actually, they are going to go in for this. Abyssal Blade out. But remember, I think Bloodseeker can man fight this one rather effectively, especially now that he's got his team behind him. YBRD, is this another double damage? It is. The slow from the Echo Saber being plenty to catch in the Blood Right, and Dendi's down. 80 seconds. I mean, we're just going to see the racks go. This is Mega Creeps right here. That's a very nice split earth. I think if they had any sort of real follow-up, that would have been beautiful. I'm talking like Invoker combo, Tornado Meatball after that. They might be able to do a lot here, but Sherlock is going to get caught Blood Right. Isn't going to die. YBRD smart, not diving under the tower, but goes in for Kotick. There is a Ghost Shroud. Kotick might be able to turn around, but no Reaper Scythe. Has the Dagon, though. Can't pop Blade Mail. Okay, unfortunate. YBRD has Satanic up. Might turn and fight if he needs to. Does. Waits for the stun. Very smart. And is able to Satanic through most of the damage coming out. Cleans up the first life of the Wraith King. They're going to go in for the second one. Do they have the root? Anything? Yes. They lock him in place, but unfortunately YBRD, he's dying way too quickly. The Penitence is so strong, but not going to matter. YBRD survives through it. They bring down the Wraith King. They bring down the Chen. And, well, that's it. That's all she wrote. Dire will claim this one after 50 minutes of back and forth, straight up brawl. 70 kills total, 75 if you want to be exact, and, well, that was a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and hit into the post-game so you guys can take a look at the stats while I ramble on my final words here. So, once again, thank you guys for joining in. Continued thanks for sending in replays. It's definitely fun. Trust me. I recommend it. Trying it at least once, going into a game and just having a ball screaming about things that are happening, because although it's cathartic in a way to scream about things and to I know sometimes I come off as soapboxing, but it's a lot of fun to be able to see those things that you can't really see in real time. Like when you're the one playing it, you miss so much that happens. I know people from 1K to 7K all miss something. And although the 7Ks miss less, of course, it's those kind of things that if you can think about them, that's how you become a better player. So hopefully I'm helping the world become better at Dota. But if I'm not, at the very least, we're getting some entertainment value out of it. So again, thanks guys for watching. Keep sending them in, and I'll look forward to the next one.